Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, one vision.
Our sources explain it all. For more information on upcoming shows or to suggest shows, email brianhayward2026@gmail.com. And now let's get into our show. Hayward Podworks is vision, deep dives into any topic.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your research and just distill it down into pure, actionable insight. We received a really fascinating set of sources this time, all detailing a systematic approach to, hyper-accelerated self-improvement. The material calls it the Personal Development Quantum Leap Strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today is to give you the shortcut to understanding this whole 5-chapter roadmap. The promise is huge. It's grow leaps and bounds and stay there.
Right.
At its heart, personal development is just, the conscious effort to improve your mental state, your physical well-being, maybe your performance. But the strategy isn't about vague hopes. It's a very structured framework for achieving genuinely significant and rapid change.
And that structure is absolutely key. Personal development, or PD as it's often called, it operates on a few different levels. There's individual self-help, interpersonal growth, like mentoring someone, and then there's the serious research level. But the whole goal of these frameworks we're looking at is to move beyond just anecdotal feelings of change.
So it's about real measurement.
Exactly. They give you concrete criteria to assess if you've actually improved by defining clear goals, specific strategies, competence levels, and, this is crucial, measurable feedback systems. Today we're focusing entirely on the systematic individual strategy that's laid out in your sources. The actual steps required to make that big, game-changing quantum leap.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Because the strategy, it doesn't actually start with action. It starts with a deep and potentially pretty uncomfortable, non-negotiable step 0. The entire thing rests on chapter 2. The critical, look at yourself. Why is this first?
Well, the source material is emphatic about this. It states that it is impossible to improve specific areas of weakness if you don't know exactly what those weaknesses are.
No improvement without precision.
Precisely. And this is more than just a quick self-check, The sources describe this step as potentially slow, sometimes painful, even exhausting.
Why exhausting?
Because it demands brutal honesty across every single facet of your life. This isn't just journaling about your feelings. It's a comprehensive audit.
Right, an audit. We're talking an audit of overall life facets. So personal happiness, your financial standing, your work performance, career path.
Your relationships, your big aspirations, all of it.
Okay, but hold on. The sources are asking you to audit your career and potentially terminate unsupportive relationships. I mean, that sounds less like a leap and more like kicking off a life crisis for some listeners.
It does.
How does the material suggest you manage the emotional side of that?
That's a really critical point. The sources do acknowledge that this is difficult, but they stress it has to be systematic, not emotional self-flagellation. The danger is being too hard on yourself, which we'll get to in a moment. But the focus here is objective measurement. You're just gathering data.
So like an analyst.
Yes. If a relationship consistently drains your energy, well, the data suggests that relationship is an obstacle to your leap.
Well,
You're looking at performance inhibitors, not personality flaws.
that reframes it perfectly. It's a performance review for your whole existence.
Exactly.
And that review gets very, very specific when it comes to your health.
Absolutely. The sources describe a person's physical and mental good health as the absolute baseline foundation for performance in all other parts of life.
So if your foundation is cracked,
Your leap will fail.
yep.
So the assessment needs specific health checks. Your physical health, your diet, cardio fitness, maybe finally getting that vision or hearing test you've been putting off.
Because if you're chronically stressed or you're eating poorly, that's a literal cap on your cognitive function and your drive.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that leads right into mental health, determining your stress levels, your anxiety, or any habits that are holding you back. If you're starting this whole development plan running on a half a tank, failure is almost guaranteed.
So you have to be honest about your relationships too.
You must. You have to dedicate time to critically assess if relationships need to be, terminated, developed, or improved, just to ensure that the structure you're building on is actually sound. Okay, so once that hard analytical work of self-assessment is finally done, we can move to the next phase, defining the target. That's Chapter 3. And the major point of caution here is critical. Many people who do a deep audit come away believing that everything is broken.
I can see that happening.
And if you try to fix 20 things at once, well, the psychological consensus suggests you're probably going to fail. You have to narrow the focus.
So if I'm listening right now and I've just been saying to myself, I want to be happier, the sources would call that a woolly goal.
That's the exact phrase they use.
What's the biggest psychological reason those vague goals just fall apart? And, what's a better example?
Well, the problem with woolly goals is the energy drain. It's caused by context switching. If your brain is constantly trying to manage improving your diet and learning a new language and starting a side hustle and fixing your relationship with your mother all at the same time,
It's exhausting just to listen to.
It is. The mental cost of just switching your attention between all those things guarantees you'll underperform in all of them.
Yeah.
So the goal has to be precise.
Okay, so give me the precise version of I want to be happier.
Okay. A precise goal would be, I will secure the promotion that raises my income by 20% by the end of Q3.
Specific.
Enabling me to hire a cleaner and dedicate 3 hours a week to my passion project.
Ah, okay. That's a roadmap, not just a hope. And that precision, that means ranking the areas you identified in the self-audit.
Yes, exactly. You rank the areas you found for self-development according to how important they are to your personal performance. The whole strategy is about fierce focus. Concentrate on a very limited number of areas first. That makes success statistically far more likely.
And that structure then leads us into Chapter 4. Writing out a personal development plan, or a PDP.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't some generic template you download. This is your personal blueprint.
It absolutely must be personal, focused entirely on what you, the individual, want to accomplish. It's suggested the plan should include defining your life purpose, your major dreams, and then explicitly outlining your short, medium, and long-term goals.
And it sounds like the context is just as important as the goals themselves. The PDP should also include these deeply personal details.
It should.
Like noting your core values, your beliefs, sketching out your ideal self, and I think this is critical, documenting past mistakes and the lessons you learned from them.
Yes. You're building forward with a full analytical knowledge of your past failures. It's so important. The framework they suggest for actually writing this out is, surprisingly simple, but it's highly structured.
How does it work?
You dedicate pages to key development areas. So career, personal, finances, physical body, social goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then you divide each page into 4 columns. And those columns are over 1 year, over 3 years, over 5 years, and over 10 years.
I think that 10-year column is where most people would just quit or at least feel totally overwhelmed. It forces you to think about truly massive foundational change. That's intimidating.
It is intimidating, but it's essential for the quantum leap idea. If you only plan for 1 year, you're only planning for incremental change. The sources really stress that the action required here is to note down what you want to accomplish, why you want it, and then detail how you're going to achieve it.
So the nitty-gritty.
The real nitty-gritty. Specific actions, tools like courses or books, and noting the supporters or mentors you'll need. This written plan isn't just for accountability, it becomes the script for what comes next.
And that brings us to the really exciting part, the mechanism for the quantum acceleration. This is Chapter 5, learning how to use imagery to manifest. We're now bridging that analytical planning with the actual mental horsepower you need to achieve those goals.
And that conceptual bridge is vital. We didn't just write out a detailed plan with goals and timelines for fun.
Yeah. Right.
We wrote it to prime the mind. Imagery, or creative visualization as it's often called, is the active tool for this. We can kind of discard the overly technical historical theories for now. The crucial takeaway is that this technique is all about mentally rehearsing success to basically program your brain for achievement.
So if you have your PDP sitting right in front of you, how do you turn that spreadsheet of goals into a powerful mental tool? What's the practical technique?
Okay, so first, you need quiet. Find a calm area, clear your mind, and get into a state of tranquility using regular, deep, slow breathing.
To quiet the internal chatter.
Exactly. Makes your mind receptive. And once you're calm, you begin the visualization. This means repeatedly, daily, you envisage the desired outcome.
And the sources are very clear on this, right? It can't just be a blurry picture. You have to engage every sense.
Exactly. This is the crucial detail that makes it a quantum tool. You have to immerse yourself. So if you're visualizing a promotion, you aren't just seeing the new office. You feel the weight of the new title. You hear the congratulations from colleagues, maybe even smell the new leather chair.
And you feel that sense of calm accomplishment.
Yes. Or if you're visualizing a fitness goal, you feel the new clothes fitting, you see the number on the scale, you hear the compliments. This sensory immersion tells your subconscious brain that this outcome is already real.
Practitioners really do claim measurable effects from this. They believe if you project this specific detailed reality over and over, the energy you put out will help bring that event into being. Mm-hmm. But that level of intense mental commitment, it requires one thing above all else, which brings us to Chapter 6, the unshakable importance of believing in yourself.
Visualization is really just daydreaming without that bedrock of self-confidence.
Right.
The sources define self-confidence as that sureness of feeling that you are equal to the task at hand. And what's fascinating here, and so relevant for the quantum leap, is that confidence is described as highly contagious.
Contagious.
Yes. It projects an aura of success, which makes other people more likely to trust you and to support your goals.
So it's not just an internal feeling, it's a performance driver. It actually affects how people react to you.
It is. It's a huge performance driver.
So how do we cultivate this contagious confidence, especially if we're coming from a place of, say, low self-esteem?
The sources offer a sort of three-pronged approach. First, you leverage your own history. Recall past successes. Your past performance is the best predictor. And reminding yourself of previous wins generates confidence for what's next.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second, use that powerful sensory imagery we just discussed to generate the feeling of future success. And third, you actively adopt the "if they can do it, so can I" mindset by, and this is key, being around successful, self-confident people. Success breeds success. Competence is catching.
And finally, there's a quick tool for managing those inevitable critical moments. You know, the big presentation, the negotiation, that difficult conversation where anxiety just tries to derail you.
Right. When nervousness or anxiety creeps in, the key is to regain emotional and physical control instantly. Ow. The sources suggest you immediately go back to that calm, deep breathing technique, and you instantly use your practiced visualization. Repeatedly visualize the successful outcome, the applause, the signed deal, the feeling of control, until that feeling of sureness comes back and the physical symptoms of anxiety just retreat. Yeah. So we connect all this back for you. The learner, the personal development quantum leap strategy, is a highly disciplined 5-step cycle.
Okay.
You start with a critical self-analysis. You use that data to set precise ranked goals. You then structure those goals into a long-term plan, the BDP.
Right, the roadmap.
Then you fuel that plan with intense sensory creative visualization, and you anchor the entire process with unshakable, contagious self-belief.
So what does this all mean at the end of the day? This strategy fundamentally asserts that you are fully responsible for the image and the aura of confidence that you project to the world.
Yes.
And that performance and success can change, not just because you've changed your habits, but because that positive image is being perceived by the audience around you. By acting successful, you begin to receive successful treatment from others, which then reinforces your internal feeling, and that creates the rapid feedback loop that defines the quantum leap.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to consider.
Go on.
If confidence is truly contagious and it inspires action in other people, how much of your current reality, your career trajectory, your relationship status, your overall sense of achievement is determined purely by the deliberate crafted image of success you project?
Regardless of what you might internally just call lady luck.
Exactly. This deep dive suggests the image you project can be the first, most fundamental step to fundamentally determining how confident you actually feel, making the outer manifestation drive the inner reality.
Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, one vision.
All right, this is Hayward Podworks, and that's today's episode. If this helped you, do me a favor, hit follow, leave a quick rating, and share it with one person who'd get value. Want the extras, links, and new drops? Check the show notes. Until next time, stay sharp, stay consistent, and keep building. Hayward Podworks. We'll talk soon.